This is the absolute most miserable thing we've ever done.
It's like, this right here makes me question why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Or like, not really why we're doing it, but how are we going to finish?
What's up, friend? Welcome to our camping adventure. We're MK and TJ, and we're on a mission to tent camp in all 50 U.S. states. When we got married in May of 2019, we went on the most fun honeymoon in St. Lucia. After coming home, we realized that we took very few pictures and videos, so we really have nothing to look back on to remember the trip. This made us commit to capturing our family adventures from here on out. While we had plans and high hopes for more international travel over the next couple of years, 2020 quickly changed our plans. However, we are beyond excited to adventure around our home country and really get to know these 50 states. We are thankful you're here, and we invite you to subscribe and join our journey.
So as you can see behind me, we're like in the middle of nowhere, Texas, and this gas station we stopped at. Gas here is twice as expensive as what we've been paying, but this one and the one right across the road over there are the only gas stations for like miles and miles and miles. It's crazy.
Welcome to day 2 of our Texas road trip. If you missed day 1, go back and watch that video and check out all the fun we had on our trip from Dallas down to San Antonio. Day 2 started with a 5.5-hour drive to Big Bend National Park. Before this trip, we knew that Texas was big, but this was the first day we started to get a glimpse of just how big. We drove for hours and didn't see anything except fields of dirt, cacti, and bushes.
We are literally in the middle of nowhere. We're back on the road, the last stretch to Big Bend National Park. I know I said in that last little clip that the gas stations we saw and the one we stopped at were the only ones for miles and miles and miles, but to put that in perspective, we drove 2.5 hours from the last gas station to that one without seeing a single other gas station. All right, we're about 30 minutes down the road from that last gas station we stopped at, and there's another one. And gas is almost $1 cheaper per gallon there, so should have waited. But we have discovered when you're driving through West Texas here, you can't really take chances. You have to get gas whenever you can.
So, if you're traveling from San Antonio to Big Bend, there's a gas station in the middle of nowhere. If you can afford to skip it, do so. And then at the Big Bend exit, fill up at that gas station.
We could have made it from Junction to this exit.
We've stopped on the side of the road to have a picnic at the picnic area, and it is so quiet out here. It is like deafening quiet. All you can hear occasionally is the car that will pass by like every 5 minutes or so. Here comes one right now. It is so pretty out here. We made it to Big Bend National Park!
We found that Big Bend is quite a ways out of the way from everything else in West Texas. However, it is well worth the trip. This national park is huge, first of all, but it's also very diverse. It's crazy because you're in the middle of the desert, but there are beautiful mountains all around you also. One of our favorite stops here was the hike we went on. we hiked down to the Rio Grande and got to stand just a few feet from Mexico. One of the really neat features of Big Bend is that there's a border crossing port. It isn't open right now because of COVID, but normally you can cross the river with a group from the national park and go into a small town called Boquillas. Even though you can't visit it right now, you can still see this town from the border, and since residents here heavily rely on the tourism from Big Bend, a few of them have crossed the river and left little trinkets and homemade souvenirs for the visitors to buy. Y'all, this is like the most beautiful place that I've ever seen.
Right behind us is the Rio Grande River, and across from the river is Mexico.
There's normally a place here in the national park where you can cross over, but it's closed because of COVID right now. However, we can still see it, which is really, really cool, and it's so beautiful.
This is so cool. We're on a little trail right now. We're headed to the Rio Grande, hopefully. Let's see if we can get closer. You can see it in the background there.
This trail says it's a short hike up, and then we go down to the river.
We'll see. We made it. There it is right there. Touch it. The sand is blowing in the wind, and if you don't have sunglasses, it'll get in your eyes.
And your teeth.
She said, and your teeth.
All right, TJ, your turn. Yay! I think it's El Rio.
She lost her hat. It's so windy.
That thorny bush caught it for me. On our hike, we even talked to a few residents of the town who were sitting along the trail close to the river. They were selling homemade tamales and some of the souvenirs, and they were very kind.
Yeah, and we saw a guy who was selling tamales on the trail, and they looked really good, and so we thought, let's try them. But they're in a package of 6, and they're $10, and we only have $5, and the guy can't split it up for us because of COVID. They're pre-packaged. He can't open a package and then give it to us. So real considerate folks. And we hate that we couldn't get us some tamales. We'll have to find them elsewhere.
So if you come here, bring your cash. So we made it to the top of this little place. It said it was a like a place you can find fossils. I haven't seen anybody looking for them, but the views are amazing. We parked right down there and walked up this short little path to the top. And I've never seen something like this before in my life. Apparently some pretty big name paleontologists have found fossils here before of a large number of different animals. The rocks here at Big Bend preserve one of the most diverse fossil records in North America. And it's one of the best places for paleontologists to study fossils of large dinosaurs. Alright, we just got back in the car and we are headed to our campsite now. It's on the opposite side of the national park. It's just outside the west gate. So it'll take us about an hour to get there. But that hike was awesome.
It was great.
It was really fun. It wasn't very long, so it was perfect if you need something shorter. I mean, we saw lots of kids. We saw all ages out there. It was really great.
We just pulled into Coyote Crossing and met our host for tonight. Seems like a pretty cool guy. And right now we're going to pick out our campsite for the night. We'll see what we end up with.
When we pulled in, it was beautiful and the sites were very well set up. It looked like it was the perfect place to watch the sunset and sunrise the next morning.
It is so windy right now. Absolutely nuts. That's the toilet. Let's see what we're working with here. Oh yeah, compost toilet. Love it. This place is really nice. Check this out. Got the mirror, the shavings, the toilet paper. Got everything we need. Look at this view. You can't beat this.
Shortly after we started setting up, the weather changed our plans. If you've ever visited West Texas, you know that the wind is always strong. We didn't mind the wind at all, but we were not prepared for the small sandstorm that happened. We were really hoping the sand would stop blowing everywhere after a while, but it only got worse. Sand was literally everywhere, in our hair, our eyes, our teeth, and even our food. The wind was so bad that it took TJ an hour to grill our burgers. The little light out there is TJ finishing up dinner. It's gotten dark, as you can see, and the wind is just getting heavier and heavier.
So I'm still out here grilling. The wind is terrible. Mary Catherine's sitting in the car. We're both gonna eat in the car. But the problem is the wind is blowing so hard that the pilot keeps going out on the stove. And so I've got it cranked on full speed and it's still taking forever for those burgers to cook. We had a beautiful sunset, but we didn't really enjoy it because the wind was blowing so hard. Sand was in our eyes. I honestly don't know how we're gonna get the tent set up and keep sand out of it and keep the rain fly from blowing away. So I guess we'll see.
Here comes TJ. I finally have dinner almost cleaned up. Do you need me to do something? TJ? He's getting the camp stove now. I don't know what we're gonna do after we eat dinner, but I have a feeling we're not setting up a tent here. I don't know if we're gonna try to wait it out and see if the wind dies down, but there's no way we can do this right now. Unfortunately.
This is the absolute most miserable thing we've ever done.
It's like, this right here makes me question why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Or like, not really why we're doing it, but how are we going to finish?
Yeah, because okay, we're in West Texas. We still need to do Utah and Arizona and New Mexico, a lot of other states that have desert areas to them. And like right now, there's sand everywhere. It's all over me. It's in my ears, my mouth.
It's all over the steering wheel.
Yeah, it's all over the steering wheel. It's all over our camping gear. It's all over our burgers that we just made.
It's in my teeth.
And like the wind was blowing so hard that the burner wasn't getting the skillet hot. And so it literally, how long have I been out there?
Oh, almost an hour.
An hour cooking 4 burgers. And I thought they were done. I brought them in. Mary Catherine took a bite out of it, and it was still raw in the middle. And so I took them back and basically let them sit in the skillet till the propane ran out. And so I don't even know if they're done anymore. But like the wind is constantly blowing, and
then
there's
it gusts even harder.
Yeah, it gusts, and it's just literally you can't see anything because the sand gets in your eyes.
We thought the wind in Oklahoma was bad. The danger there was that tree limbs would fall. There are no tree limbs to fall on us, so it'd be fine if it wasn't for the sand.
Yeah. So we're going to try to eat these burgers. I don't know if they're done yet. We're going to take a bite.
They look really good, and they smell good. Oh, yes.
They're done. There's no way. There's no way.
The car's shaking around now.
Our tent would rip apart. I'm sure they make tents that can withstand this kind of weather. We don't own it. If you know of it, if you have a tent that you love that's like could keep sand out in a sandstorm, link it below.
But on the bright side, Big Bend was absolutely amazing.
It was beautiful. And actually, the sun set.
Oh, this campsite is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, this campsite is awesome. And Rob, is it Rob?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Rob. We met Rob when we came in. Great guy, but
super nice.
it's the wind, and I don't know if this is like a fluke, and we just happen to be here on like a super windy night. We're gonna try to figure out Plan B. I'll let you guys know what happens.
Sadly, we packed everything up and we headed north. The next campsite was 3.5 hours north, and it was first come, first serve.
Here we are, guys. We're in a hotel.
That's right. And this is why. So we have about another hour and a half drive to Guadalupe Mountain State Park, or National Park. I'll get the name right eventually. And we are just exhausted. And we figured it was much more safe to pull over and stop. And so we stopped in the next town, which is Van Horn, Texas. And so, we want to do the right thing. We want to do the safe thing. And so we are stopping for the night in a cheap hotel.
I knew this when I was booking places to stay, but it's extremely hard to find campsites in Texas, for tents, at least. Most of them are for RVs, and so the tent sites are few and far between. So it's a bummer for tonight, but we still have 2 more nights.
Yep. So we're going to get clean and then go to sleep. And then we'll be at it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
See. Actually, you have a story to tell.
Oh, I do have a story to tell.
She has a story to tell real quick.
Okay, so we were driving on this highway for like a couple hours. It was crazy. It was really like pitch black dark. And out of the corner of my eye, I see this black thing moving like in the beam of our light on the opposite side of the road. It's just a 2-lane highway. And I was like, it's a big black moving object. I turn and look, and there's this animal. It's massive. I like froze, kind of panicked, and it's running towards the car. And then about the time we start to pass it, it starts running like on the other side of the road, just separated by 1 lane of highway. It's like running with us for a second, and we kept driving. We were faster than it, and I kept telling TJ, I was like, I swear it's a bear. It had to have been a bear. Like that, I don't know what else it was. It looked just like a bear. And he was like, are you serious? And then I saw what I think were some cubs, just a little bit up, like as soon as I told him that was a bear. And anyway, I thought, do bears live in South Texas? But I looked it up, and apparently there are black bears in South Texas.
I didn't even get to see it.
It was crazy. It was like really freaky because it was running at the car, and it was huge. Like, huge.
So there's story time. We're going to get clean and go to sleep.
Get all the sand off.
We'll see y'all tomorrow.
You're cute.
Okay, ready?
Actually, I wasn't ready. What do I say?
And it's so freaking cool. And they have... You might want me to do this you could use this for a voiceover. And they have a little trail that comes.
All right, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. As I fall down. We're hiking to the Rio Grande.
You gotta go up.
I gotta put my nose. Hold on.